Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video tutorial, what we're going to do, we're going to create a wonderful game which is like lottery game. Like every time when we click, it will generate a random number, or we can also give name like a lucky number, but which is not actually lucky, but this is like how we create a random three different number. So how it's going to work, like when we click on a start, every time it's generating a different number, and that's going to be so much exciting. But if you haven't subscribed my channel yet, please subscribe my channel so I can upload a cool video like that. And without wasting our time, let's get started. So for this, I'm going to use a Visual Studio Code. That's where I'm going to write my code. uh, and For Visual Studio Code, if you want to download, the link is in description. It very lightweight and it is very helpful. If you want to use your own editor, or whatever your whatever you like the editor you want to use, you can use it. Also, the code will be in the source code will be in the description, so you can find over there. So if you're new to that, you can create your folder, and you can select your folder uh, by clicking on the file and then open folder. If you want to create a new folder, then it's right here. It says new folder. I have already opened my folder, so I'm going to um, click a new file. That's where I'm going to write my file, and I would say lotto.html. And if I click, and I would say HTM, and you can see there are the few options. We're going to choose a third option, 5, which is says it will create our boilerplate. So we don't have to write this sort of the code. Remember, if you do not have, never provided .html extension, probably it won't work. So make sure you add .html to your file, then it's going to work. So our boilerplate is ready. So in the body section, we're going to give heading Lotto game, and here we add input tag, type equal to text, and we will provide the ID equal to 1. Let's copy, because this is for 1, 2, and 3, since we want to generate 3 different number. So I would give ID 2, 3. So ID, okay. And we need the button, so I'm going to add button ID equal to submit. So everything is ready. Now I go here, click, right click on that one. So you will have a few options. So one is open in default browser and open in other browser. So if you want to open in your default browser, click on that one. And if you want to open in different browser, like for example, it's if you want to open in Chrome, and which is not your default browser, then click on that one. But I'm going to use open with live server, and I'm going to tell why I'm going to use that one. So if I click on my uh, you know open with live browser, every time when I click, I mean, if I do any changes, I don't have to refresh. It's every but just I have to save my code, and that's it. As you can see, I forget to write, click here. So let's give, and I saved it, and if I go back, and you can see, boom, right here. I don't have to refresh. So that's the cool thing. And how you're going to download that? You go to extension, you can see that 4 type square, click there, and in the search box says live, and it will pop up live server, and click on that one, and you will have the option as a install it. If you don't want to install, still it's fine. And let's come back over here. Okay, so now if I go back and if I click, it's not going to happen anything, right? Because we haven't added our JavaScript code. The ideal thing is you going to create another file and you're going to add or link that file with the HTML. But for this video, we're going to write in a same file. So now I'm going to add script tag, and here I'm going to basically where I want to show in this text box, right? So in this text box, I want to show the number. So that's why I need that one. So how are we going to select? We can say document dot query selector. So query selector, since it is a ID, so we give the hashtag and the whatever the name ID name we provided, it should be here again. So how, why we are doing this? Because that's where we're going to add our number over there. Okay, so whenever the number generate, it's supposed to show there. So that's why we are grabbing that first, and later we're going to use that one. So how we did document dot query selector. Why the hashtag? Because it is the ID. If it is the class, then we're going to use a dot. But since it is a ID, it is a hashtag. So let's wrap that one in a variable, and we would call one. So it might be little confusing. So let's change our variable name, and we says ren1. Okay, so this is now our variable. So we store that in our variable. Same thing we're going to do two, and here we says two. There are like multiple way of selecting our ID, and I'll show you how the second way or like another way. So we can do document dot get element by ID, right? So if you want to select the class name, then get element by class name, and it will work same. So 3, and again we're going to store in the variable, and we will call ren3. Okay, so now we have that thing, and we're going to create, or we're going to add our event on our button. So we call variable submit equal to same thing, document dot get element by ID or query selector, whatever you want to use, and it is submit. If you want to use document dot get element by ID, then you don't have to use hashtag. If you want to use dot query selector, and if it is ID, then use the hashtag. That's why I use both, so it will give some practice if you want to, or you can use either or. Okay, so now what we're going to do on the s- submit, we're going to create an event. So when submit dot add event listener, when someone click, so we want click event. Okay, someone click on that, then we want to do something, and that's going to be in a function. Okay, this is little confusing, so let me explain you. So submit, why submit? Because we store that submit, this ID submit, right, in a submit variable. You can use any other name if you want to use over here, but this submit has to be match, right? So when we use this submit, we are grabbing from ID. Okay, and this submit, we give the name of that variable. Submit dot add event listener click. What does it mean? When someone click on that, who is this? It is a button. When someone click on this button, do something. So whatever the logic we want to write, let's say first I always write alert. We want to make sure whatever we did, it's good. So when we click on that one, it's supposed to be alerted. And let's go and click on this one. Our function is good. So now what we can do, let's create a random number. So for that, I'm going to create a function. So function, and I would say 1, or let's give number 1. Number 1. What we're going to do, we're going to generate a random number, right? So math dot random, and this will create a random number between 0 to 1. So it's not exact 0.00 something to 0.999, but not 1. Okay, and if you want to see what I mean, console.log, and let console it, and let's see it. So when we click on that one, but we haven't called this function, so now that's not going to work. So we have to call this function over here first. So number 1, and now we call our function over here. And now when we click here, and let's inspect our element, console, every time when I click, it's generating the random numbers, right? But we want our number to be 0 to 9. So how we going to do it? Now we can multiply by 10. So multiply by 10. Not here, here. Okay, and now when we click, you can see 1.89, 6.86, 2.50, 2.57, 8.92, and every time it's generating a different number. But we don't want, in a decimal, we want the whole number, right? Or like 108 or something like that, right? So we have another method we can use it, and that is either you can use math.floor or math.seal, right? I'm going to use math.floor, and let's console log it. Okay, math.random math. Ah, it's not here. It should be here. Okay, and now if I click on that one, 904607779, awesome. So it's creating the random number over here. Let me zoom in. Oh, not sorry. Okay, so that's definitely creating that random number. So that's good. We don't want console log. We want to show in our input element. So how we going to do this? Remember, we already store in variable rand1. So here we're going to use rand1 dot value. Why the value? Because we want to show in that text box. That's why we have to use value. And now we go back here and click file 8. As you can see, our logic is working. So now what we're going to do? We're going to create a 2 more function. And we're going to change here ren2. Why ren2? Because we store in that variable, and here ren3. And if we save and if we click on that function, still it's not going to create or it's not going to work as expected. And you know why? Reason behind, because we never call. So that's a deliberately I did. So you will remember. And another mistake is it has to be two uh, different number, right? So three, and same thing. Here it's going to be called number two R R. Okay, and let's copy, paste here, and here should be number three. Awesome. And now we don't want console, and if we click every time, as you can see, 433 088 193 056, every time number is generated, but it's not look that great. So what we can do, we can do some styling, and that's going to be fun. So we're going to add our styling, and whatever you want to use, or you can use a bootstrap, or if you want to use any other thing you can use it. But for here, let's change this to the Lotto first. Okay, and right after title, script, not script, style. And we're going to use, first we're going to create a one div element, div id equal to container, and we're going to copy, and we're going to paste over here, so everything we wrap in the container. And now we're going to add in our container. So since it is id again, so we're going to use in our style, and we can say, since it is um, id, we're going to use a hashtag and say container height, let's say 300 pixel, width, let's say 300 pixels, same. We're going to use a border, and let's use solid 2 pixel and black. Text align center. Awesome. And now if we go back here, so not bad. Okay, and we don't want button right next to it, so what we can do, we can give some break here, break, go back here. Okay, awesome. So now it's look a little bit okay, but not that great. So now we give some input. So input, background color, let's use a blue, color of the text, so color, since it's blue, let's use a white, height, let's give 70 pixel, because it's not look that great. So if you can see, we don't want that big I mean, we don't want this sort of um, it's really big. Instead, we can use a shorter and it's look better. That's what we're going to use. We don't want that much width. So 70 pixel width going to be, let's give 70 pixel. Okay, let's give text align center. Font size, let's check now how it's look. Okay, awesome. But you can see our font is very small. It's barely we can see it. So let's change it, our font size, and font size 30 pixel, and font weight bold. And now we can check. Awesome, that's great. Now we can same thing we do with the button. Let's do something for button. So button, and we set the height as a 30 pixel. We can set width 70 pixel, and let's check our button now. Okay, but as you can see, it's like a touching our box, so we don't want that. So let's give some margin to that. So I would say margin from top. It means it's going to push from the top. So maybe 10 pixel would be okay. 10 pixel. And now if you check, so that button is now pushed back. If you say 20, then it's going to push a little bit more. So 20, and if you come back here, so it's pushed back, but it's, and give some color. So background color, let's give some teal. Let's give some teal color. I'm coming over here. Okay, so it's look a little bit better. And now give some border radius. Border radius 20 pixel. And the font color we give the white, so we can see. Font size, we're going to increase our font size, so font size, that's going to be 15 pixel. Font weight bold, and that's look a little bit better. You can make way better. I mean, if you want, I just want to use a little bit everything. So if you are beginner, you can get some hint of the how to use HTML, how to use CSS. I didn't use a bootstrap over here because first, if you learn the CSS, you can do a lot of stuff, and then if you understand, then can use a bootstrap after that. So that's how you make your custom app. And if you click, there you go, and it's working perfectly fine. So hope you like my video. If you like my video, please share and subscribe, and I will create a few more video like this, and hope you enjoyed. um, okay, and if you need uh, that code, whatever we used, source code, that the link is in the description. You can find over there if you want to use, and that's it. We will see you in the next video. Okay, bye bye.